Alright then, I guess it's time. Now, where to start off with this? I don't know where to start off. I'll keep a calm voice for this. I don't know, don't really want to do anything too insane before I kill myself. Obviously not kill myself, but I don't know if anyone will get that, but I don't know, I've gone crazy. But I am here now, and I will be reading Creepypasta again. Now, I can't show you guys, but it sucks that I can't show you guys, but I will be reading it off my phone here. Put it to the side. I don't know. Probably really doesn't matter which side it's taken on. Yeah, I'll be reading some Creepypasta. I was played Rock for Blitz. I did Cult of Personality, only 5-star, not gold star, so that sucked. I'm on the wiki for this. Let's go to... I forget which ones I don't know. Apparently there's a new mobile theme. That's pretty good. Cool, I guess. Now, I don't know what to read, though. Here is a funny kind of day, I guess. A funny kind of day, scary paranormal stories and memes, Twitter's. Apparently there's a new thing. Alright. This is the story. I don't know if you guys can see it. A funny kind of day. By Dirtbutt, apparently. DERPBUTT. Dirtbutt. Alright, let's start this off. Ever heard of a funny town, USA? No, not the one from Colorado, the one from Idaho. If you haven't, that's okay, because it's no longer there. It hasn't existed since... Sorry, my voice is a little iffy. It hasn't existed since the summer of 1968. Funny Town was an amusement park... Wow. Funny Town was an amusement park that only lasted for less than a month. Anyone who remembers it would probably recall hearing a news report that a tragedy occurred there that forced the park to close down. I am one of the few still alive today who actually saw what happened. My name is Josh Henrikin, and I will tell you everything I witnessed. I don't know how long this will be. Decent amount, I guess. It was Friday, July 18th, 1968, and the park was the busiest it had ever been. According to the local news, I arrived there with my best friend Luke and his fiancée Mel. What? What? I arrived there with my best friend Luke and his fiancée Mel. Are gay guys? I don't know. Luke and I were 17 and Mel was 16. I hadn't seen them for nearly a year since they moved in together, and when Mel bugged Luke to take her to Funny Town. Oh, is it Mel? I thought Mel sounds like a girl, but I don't know. Take her to Funny Town. He gave me a buzz and had me tag along. Us two guys felt too old for some kiddie park, but it was Mel's birthday, so we went along with the idea. We entered the park, which was fairly crowded for being a place that was so out of the way. It was a large, cartoonish town with cast members wearing striped, brightly colored suits and blouses. There were many booths set up along the streets with the typical amusement park shit, like unhealthy food and games for winning prizes. As you'd expect, Luke felt obligated to win Mel some prizes, which gave me some time to roam around on my own. I remember deciding to go on a ride that Mel would have hated, Doctor Strange's Funny House. A cheap knockoff of Disney's Haunted Mansion. Only one person can go at a time, and the rider had to sit in an uncomfortable mining cart. I sat in that damn cart, and it moved me along on a trek through a pitch-black tunnel where animatronic ghosts, mummies, and vampires popped out at me. It wasn't anything impressive, but then the cart took me into a room where the figure of Doctor Strange stood. The scene depicted was one that really stuck with me. Wow. Doctor Strange was dressed in typical Mad Doctor fashion and stood in his laboratory. A giant deformed monster he had created was locked in a cage begging for food. The crazed doctor was standing over a female victim that was strapped to a table, and he was hacking her up with an axe, feeding her body parts to the monster. Although the scene was done with cheap animatronics, I had no idea it was really an omen for what would happen next. I'm guessing that's gonna happen. I'm not too sure. And if you guys, this is the first creepypasta you guys have ever heard me read, I usually give my my opinion or reactions to after a little bit. I mean, if I see something interesting, yeah. If this is the first time, welcome. And if this is not, then welcome back. The ride ended. A cast member pulled me out of the cart, and I was in a black tent. As I walked towards the opening, I suddenly heard what sounded like an alarm. I exited the tent and saw that everyone was in a panic as the noise continued, yet there didn't seem to be any signs of danger. Some people headed back to the parking lot while others stood there acting very confused. Even the people in charge of the park didn't know what the fuck to do. That's when everything got very, very terrible. The alarm had a horrible effect on some people, and it started with the cast members. One by one, they began to rip the flesh from their faces clean off. Then guests began to do the same. Those that were faceless began shouting the most insane things I've ever heard to something in the sky. The alarm continued to sound, and those that had not mutilated themselves were brutally attacked by the crazy ones. Chaos erupted all over Funnytown, and blood covered pavement and soaked into the grass, creating huge puddles that some people slipped on while trying to get away. Those who were once holding hands were now impaling and hacking away at each other. I was so paralyzed by fear that I could not fucking move until I saw someone on fire running directly at me. I kicked him to the ground and ran through the mob of gore-drenched maniacs to see if I could save my friends. Finally, I found my best friend that I had known since preschool. Mel was crawling away in agony with her throat sliced open. Luke was about to finish her off with a shard of glass when he turned around to reveal that he had torn off his face as well. He smiled at me and said, "They're coming to save us, Josh. All we have to do is free ourselves from this ugly flesh, and they will accept us." "Who, Luke?" I asked. "Who is coming?" Suddenly, the alarm started getting louder and louder until I saw that it wasn't an alarm at all. The horrendous noise was emitting from a spacecraft that swooped down over Funnytown, then hovered for a few minutes while the people that had lost their minds called to it, begging the unseen aliens to take them away. Instead, the craft began to slowly fly off. The base of the ship was circular, and the top was pyramid-shaped, with 3 triangular engines on its back that glowed blue as it flew back into space. The noise slowly began to fade, then the entire crowd became completely silent for a few short moments. The eerie silence was soon broken by a dozen police cars arriving at the park's entrance. The officers were all heavily armed, and 2 SWAT teams quickly joined them. The police opened fire on the crowd, targeting literally everyone. I left Mel and Luke behind and took cover in the tent from the funny house, where I was attacked by the cast member who had helped me off the ride. The man was strangling me, but I was able to kick him out of the tent. I saw him get back up, but then a shotgun shell made his head explode. I laid there in my hiding spot with my eyes shut, listening to the horrors outside and praying no one would look inside the tent. Obviously, no one did. But I still waited there for many hours, hardly moving at all, till I heard the chirp of crickets. Night had come, and all the police vehicles were gone, so I left the tent and made my way back to my car. stepping over dead bodies and cruelly made weapons as I walked through the dark streets at the once happy park. That's where my story ends, and it's all true. There were other survivors of the massacre, such as other guests and officers, but most of them either killed themselves or went missing. The entire park was torn down the next day, and the government covered the whole thing up, especially the appearance of the UFO. As you can imagine, to this day, I have no idea why the sound from the spacecraft made some of the guests crazy, but not all of them. It probably made me a little crazy too, but because whenever I think about the day, I do find it funny. Wow. Ain't he just a funny man? Apparently, this was rated 5.4. See if I can get that. I don't know if you guys can see that. It says 5.4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that 0.4 of the star. Let's see what other creepy pastas we can find on this. I'll probably read one more, maybe. We'll see. Load more entries. There's Windows and Notes by Dirtbutt. Dirtbutt seems to be. Here's the scariest story ever with quotation marks. I'll read that. There's a lullaby for whatever. Alright. I don't know how long this will be. Probably another 10 minutes. If you have still stuck around, I'm proud. I'm surprised someone's still stuck around though. Alright then. So this is the scariest quote unquote story ever. September 8th, 2012 at 8 a.m. by Dirtbutt. It has been tweeted once. Let's do this. Transcript taken from a video found under the link scariest quote unquote story ever. The video feed turns on in night vision mode. A teen girl pale in the greenish light stands in front of a leathery black backdrop, rods running through it. Her pupils glow as the light hits them, turning the same pale green as her skin, while her irises, that's probably something in the eye, while her irises stay black. She begins to speak in a calm, clear voice. My life has been a living hell. I can barely remember a time when I wasn't afraid, and even that seems like it was years ago. But I know it hasn't been years since this started. It started 3 days ago. It started with the video. The video was much like this one is. A cute teen boy filming himself on one of those cheap video cameras, making a home movie at dark. His voice was calm and sweet, completely the opposite of what he was saying. What he was saying was dark and cold. I should never have watched that video. You shouldn't be watching this one. This is your last chance to turn back, to turn off the video, to save yourself from the terror that awaits you. Turn it off now. I see you didn't listen. I don't blame you. I didn't listen to his warning either. I thought I could handle the story that was to come. I was dead wrong. I applaud you for your bravery, but you were stupid. Oh well, no turning back now. I suppose I should tell you what you're in for. He never did that for me. He didn't do anything for me. Everything was for himself. He said that they were looking for recruits for the group he was a part of. I was to be their newest recruit. Having seen the video, that confused me. How was he supposed to find me? And what if I didn't want to be part of their group? The latter obviously didn't occur to him. He said it was such finality. It was as if no one in their right mind would refuse to be in the group, or that you had no choice in the matter. He explained that special abilities and rewards were granted to those in the group. Granted. As if I had a choice. I suppose the abilities aren't that bad. You'll find out soon enough. at